A brief history of horror. Werewolves. Beasts possess great power, speed, strength, endurance, gifts we humans traded in millennia ago for our large brains but relatively weak bodies. It is no wonder that since ancient times we have lusted for the abilities of our animal ancestors. On every continent, legends abound of men and women with the power to transform into beasts and run like the wind, swim, and fly. In the West, the most popular of these legends is that of the man who transforms into a wolf, gaining the strength, speed, and viciousness of the beast and also releasing something of the dark nature that hides within all of us. Let's explore the history of this lurking lunar lycanthrope. The wolf is the most fierce predator in Europe, and wolf attacks on humans were a part of life for centuries. Ancient Greek mythology is rife with tales of werewolfism. Herodotus tells of a tribe called the Nuri, who became wolves for several days each year and stalked the forests around Arcadia. In another myth, Lycan, the king of Arcadia, tests Zeus to see if he is truly omniscient by serving him grilled human flesh. As punishment for this defilement, Lycan was transformed into a wolf. From this myth comes the term lycanthropy, or turning into a wolf. The Romans told similar tales. In one story, a man hung his clothes from an ash tree and swam across a lake in order to transform. When he swam back the other way, he would be human again. Another transformation tale involves removing the clothes and urinating in a circle around them. Petronius was the first to connect the werewolf with the full moon. He tells of a man who brought a soldier friend with him while traveling to visit his mistress. On the journey, the soldier suddenly transforms into a wolf and runs off into the woods. Upon arriving to the mistress's house, the man is told that a wolf had been fought off by a servant with the sword. The next day, the man visits the soldier to find him dying of a sword wound to the neck. The Volsunga saga speaks of a tribe of Vikings called the Ulfhegnar, who went into battle dressed in the heads and hides of wolves. Like berserkers, they fought viciously, channeling the spirit of the wolf, and were a terrifying sight. The wolf is an important beast in Germanic and Frankish pagan religion. It is no surprise, therefore, that myths of werewolves are common in German and French-speaking countries. Fairy tales, which are really warnings to children about the dangers of their world, often include wolves. Most famously in the story of Little Red Riding Hood, when Riding Hood says, "What big teeth you have!" and the wolf answers back, "The better to eat you with." It is clear that this is no ordinary wolf. When witch persecutions ran rampant in medieval Europe, thousands of unfortunate souls were also accused and put on trial for being werewolves. The most famous of these trials is the strange and twisted case of Peter Stumpp, the werewolf of Bedburg. Peter was a German farmer who, after being tortured on the rack, confessed that he had summoned the devil, who gave him a belt which allowed him to transform into a wolf. He confessed to killing and eating 16 people. He met a bloody execution on the wheel. Werewolf accusations in France coincided with rampant wolf attacks in the 17th and 18th centuries. The Beast of Gévaudan terrorized southern France from 1764 to 1767, killing at least 80 people. The killings were most likely the work of a large pack of actual wolves, but a local hunter claimed to have slain a supernatural beast with a silver bullet. The werewolf traveled to Eastern Europe as well, where its vicious and nocturnal nature often associated it with the vampire. In Belarus, Prince Veslag of Pulsk was said to stalk the countryside in the body of a wolf. He had superhuman strength and hearing. He could always hear the bells of the church and return home before dawn. Over the years, werewolf lore has evolved and changed to fit the story. In some cases, the bite of another werewolf bestows the curse. In others, it is genetic, the children of werewolves first transforming at the onset of puberty. Sometimes the full moon must stimulate the change. Sometimes the werewolf can transform at will. In some cases, the werewolf is a mindless monster, but he is often portrayed as a tragic figure, cursed by his uncontrollable dark side. The werewolf is an allegory for the pain and suffering resulting from giving in to our baser instincts. But if some night you find that a werewolf is stalking you, most tales agree that a silver bullet is the only way to stop it. Unlike many of the classic movie monsters, the werewolf did not have a significant 19th century novel to bring it to fame. The first appearance of the werewolf on the silver screen was in 1935's Werewolf of London, in which a British botanist traveling in Tibet in search of a rare plant is attacked and returns home to unwillingly unleash his dark curse on the streets of London. In 1941, Lon Chaney Jr. played the Wolfman. Again, the werewolf is a romantic and tragic figure, cursed by his transformation and subsequent violence. Chaney was more willing to allow makeup artists to transform him, and this look and lore shaped the portrayal of werewolves in Western culture for decades to come. Chaney played the Wolfman in 4 sequels, including the 1948 comedy Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. The 1957 B-movie, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, casts heartthrob Michael Landon as a young man dealing with the frustrations of youth and a bout of lycanthropy. Many young people, I'm sure, can relate. The wolf is once again a tragic anti-hero in Hammer Horror's 1961 Curse of the Werewolf, where a man discovers too late that only love can calm the beast inside. 1981's An American Werewolf in London follows 2 college students traveling through the English countryside, where they are attacked by a mysterious beast. One dies, the other wakes up in a hospital. The survivor is visited by the ever-decaying specter of his friend, who warns him that he too will transform into a murderous monster. This film features probably the greatest werewolf transformation ever put to film, and done entirely with makeup and practical effects. It was the first film to win an Academy Award for Best Makeup. A year later, the director, John Landis, and the makeup artist, Rick Baker, were hired to create Michael Jackson's Thriller video, which also includes the pop star as a gnarly werewolf. In The Howling, a troubled news anchor travels to a resort colony for some rest and relaxation, only to find that the colony is hiding a hairy secret. She tries to warn the world, but ends up transforming on live TV. If you're looking for a family-friendly werewolf movie, 1985's Teen Wolf is your best bet. Michael J. Fox stars as a dorky teen who discovers he is a hereditary werewolf. He uses his powers of transformation to win popularity and basketball games. Campy 80s flick, Silver Bullet, based on Stephen King's Cycle of the Werewolf, stars Corey Haim as a wheelchair-bound boy who must fight off werewolves in his small town. 1994's Wolf stars Jack Nicholson, who really doesn't need much makeup, as a book publisher who is bitten by a werewolf. He uses his newfound confidence and aggression to tell off his enemies and a gang of muggers. It is only when he falls in love with Michelle Pfeiffer that he discovers his lycanthropy is actually a curse. One of the most compelling characters in the Harry Potter series, Remus Lupin, was bitten as a young child by the maniacal Death Eater werewolf Fenrir Greyback. Lupin is cursed to suffer each full moon and fears allowing anyone to get too close to him. A teen and her sister discover that her body is changing from more than just puberty in 2000's Ginger Snaps, a funny, very gory, and ultimately tragic story of sisterly love. In British horror comedy Dog Soldiers, a group of army men haul up in a farmhouse as they are surrounded by a pack of werewolves that pick them off one by one. The Underworld series, beginning in 2003, pits werewolves against vampires in an epic battle. This began the pop culture marriage of these two diabolical characters. It seems that in most cases the werewolf plays a secondary or adversary character to the main star, the vampire. In New Moon, the second installation of the youth romance series Twilight, a teen werewolf is introduced as the romantic rival to the main vampire. Many youthful hearts aflutter proclaim their devotion to either Team Jacob or Team Edward. In more adult fare, the series True Blood, about a woman enamored of vampires, also had a werewolf-vampire love triangle, when Sookie considers the affections of hunky Alcide as a more earthy alternative to her ethereal vampire ex. In 2010, horror classic The Wolfman was remade starring Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins, and Emily Blunt. The 2011 TV series Teen Wolf is a loose retelling of the 1985 Michael J. Fox movie, but with a more teen heartthrob vibe. In the series Hemlock Grove, about supernatural happenings in a Pennsylvania town, the character Peter, a teenage Romany gypsy, is revealed to be a werewolf in a very cool transformation. As long as humans battle with temptation and calming the beast inside, the classic horror character of the werewolf will have its place in pop culture and Hollywood. So what's your take on the werewolf? Tragic anti-hero cursed by his inability to control the animal within? Strong and sexy stud muffin? Or just a malevolent monster you wouldn't want to meet on a moonlit night? Let me know in the comments and be sure to subscribe for more horrifying videos. Thank you for watching.